I start 5 jobs on Monday, 1.2 million a year. Here's my path and some thoughts on this crazy life. I am in IT. I have a fairly niche title that everybody wants right now. I have 5 full-time jobs, 4 of which are Fortune 500 companies. If I manage all 5 for a year, I will make around 1.2 million in 2022. I made $16 an hour in 2016. I'm still struggling grasping the sheer amount of money dumping into my bank account. At the start of 2021, I got a new job. It paid around $70,000, $105,000 to $170,000, more than I was making at my previous job. I had the inside scoop from a previous coworker, so I was able to name drop and negotiate effectively. I was tempted to keep both jobs since due to COVID, both were fully remote. My fiancée is incredibly risk-averse, so she talked me out of it. As I got situated in my new position, I became increasingly set on getting a second job. I played video games from 8 to 4 and sat in meetings barely paying attention. I've probably done around 15 hours of real work since I started in January of last year. In April, I opened my resume to the world, and by June, I bagged job 2, $82 an hour. Holy crap, 2 jobs. I was giddy with the money, terrified of meetings overlapping, and horrified if they found out about each other. As I settled into job 2, I found the meetings to be tedious. There were around 4 hours of meetings each day for job 2. I suffered through them, agreeing to job 3, having never stopped interviewing. I just made my salary expectations higher and waited for something to fall in my lap. My thought process was that job 3, 90 an hour corporation to corporation, would likely replace job 2, as job 1 is a laughable cakewalk. However, since I am now in the position of power, I decided to try to flex it a bit. I told my project manager that the meetings were a waste of my time, they got nothing done, and they didn't contribute to my work at all. I now participate in an average of 45 minutes of meetings each week for job 2. Job 3 is also a cakewalk, around 1.5 hours a week of meetings, probably 5 hours a week worth of work. I continue to field any job that will hear my salary expectations. I am now saying 95 an hour is my salary expectation. Another corporation-to-corporation gig comes around, and the hiring manager loves me. Once again, being in the position of power, I am able to simply set my expectations with zero fear of the results. Given the scope of the work, my salary expectation is $105 an hour. The highest we can go is $100. Nope. They gave me my request. They then tried to push back my start date a week. I told them I had already gave my 2 weeks at my previous job, so they will need to pay me for the absent week. They hemmed and hawed. They tried to say no. I simply told them that I wouldn't work there then. They paid me $4,200 for a week that I didn't even sign in. I expected this job to fold quickly, as it's with a very prestigious company and there is quite a bit of spotlight on my role. It turns out that I haven't done fuck all since I started mid-October at $4,200 a week to go to a stand-up each morning to say I have nothing to do since October. Job 4 is somehow an even bigger cakewalk than job 1. On Monday, I start job 5. Initially, having agreed to $115, I tried to press them for $127 an hour, but ended up at $120. This appears to be another job that I will just sort of expect to get fired from, but hopefully it turns into another easy $5,000 a week for doing jack shit. Let's talk about things that I think are working for me. 1. Be fearless. After all, once you get job 2, your risk absolutely plummets. It is ingrained in you to be terrified of getting fired. That fear can fucking die when you move into your second role. The amount of relief of not having to worry about what your boss thinks of you or how you accidentally overslept and that might piss off some clown in charge, it all fades. It's beyond freeing. 2. Be willing to be fired. I have the luxury of having job 1 be a cakewalk with incredible benefits. So from there, who gives a fuck about getting fired from job X? I try to keep job 1 happy. In the future, probably not saying things like, I'm going to actively find a new job, LOL, and don't really give a shit about the others. I try to do the absolute bare minimum to keep all the jobs since replacing one is a pain, but any fear of getting fired just isn't there. 3. Flex your power. Be willing to say, I can't make that meeting, or this meeting is a waste of my time. People don't want to rock the boat. They don't want to do something that might be stupid. Use the fact that most people also want to do the bare minimum to get by. I have had zero pushback when I've asked meetings to be moved, or, hey, I can't make the stand-up today. 4. Fuck having to defend yourself. Just say, I can't make it. I have gotten zero pushback on this. 5. Use your power position in not needing to listen about the job that is offering that paltry $65 an hour. Recruiters have a range. Demand the range. If it doesn't fit $10 to $15 an hour more than your current job, tell them no. I eagerly accepted a role at $82 an hour 6 months ago. Christmas Eve. I accepted a position for nearly 50% more than that. Flex your power. Job 2 takes the power out of your employer's hands and plants it firmly in your own. Use it to climb, grow, and make your life what you want. I have paid off all my debt already, bought a second house, will have enough money to completely revamp both houses by the end of February, and plan on snowbirding from Florida to WV for the foreseeable future at the ripe age of 35. Since this is all debt-free, maybe I will cut down to 2 jobs. Maybe I will just dump money into retirement. Starting your own S-Corp is fucking powerful, guys. Talk to a CPA. Maybe I don't really give a fuck, because the world for the first time in my life is my fucking oyster. I'm more than willing to answer any questions. Even though I have 4 active jobs right now, I still play video games 4 to 5 hours a day. I have plenty of time. Hopefully this empowers someone to take the leap into this fucking incredibly positive lifestyle. Update 1. Hey everyone, I've had lots of people ask for an update and I got notified that it's my 10th year cake day today, so I'm feeling inspired to write up a summary of my last 4 months. I still have all 5 jobs. I've gotten a promotion at one, a surprise extension at one, and berated for not delivering anything at all at one. When berated about a month ago, I simply yelled back that my job is hard and that poor communication from management has pulled me in many directions, and I haven't heard anything about it since. I've stepped my game up slightly to hopefully eliminate these chats in the future. I have had several large deliverables that have been pretty stressful. I tend to heavily procrastinate, which is honestly probably why I am good at managing multiple things. I inflict this on myself constantly. LOL. And that has led to some overwhelming moments. Thoughts like, I should quit this job instead of deliver came to me pretty often, but that's pride talking. Fuck pride. Fire me, please, Daddy. So I've been continuing the trudge, trying to not allow the absence of good work and the looming concept of being let go get the better of me. I have a plan, I'm sticking to it. Job 5 turned into the biggest cakewalk of all. I get paid about $20,000 a month for Job 5, have a nice extension into August, and have done about 3 hours of work, probably about 8 hours including meetings, since I started. This one is not going to last forever, but my boss and I jive well, and I am serving the purpose they want me to serve, so everyone is happy. I'm still playing 2 to 6 hours of video games every day, averaging about 15 hours of work. Editor's note, OP clarified he meant per week, not day. I've started playing video games through meetings and paying even less attention than normal. This is honestly probably pushing things too far, and I'll need to limit myself a bit better. Once again, I will be aggressive about answering reasonable questions. To the guy that asked if I would be a reference for him, I appreciate you shooting your shot, but JFC, give advice or whatever. Please recognize that I am not some grand poobah of employment, though. I am a trash employee who kind of lucked into a vein of IT that people don't know how to control yet. Update 3. Hey all. It's been 8 months since my original post, which can be found here. My update post can be found here, which was 4 months ago. Editor's note. OP's math is off here, but that's probably because they started posting in January 1 and now are posting in August 8. To bring you, my beloved reader, up to speed, here's a rundown. At the start of 2022, I had 5 jobs making an estimated $1.2 million per year. That estimate turned out to be bad. It was more like 960K. My update consisted of being wary about J, 2 being dissatisfied with me, J5 offering a dramatic contract extension, and the other jobs going mostly well. There have been 2 main moments that I would like to share with the group, and both of them include being let go. J2. I initially hated due to their excessive meetings. As my beloved reader may recall, I pushed them aggressively about how those meetings were a waste, and they were significantly cut down. J2 was relaxed, and I didn't do much at all. My leadership changed at about the 6-month mark, and immediately my new supervisor smelled the foul stench of a dogshit employee. At first I thought he was simply grumpy in general, but it turned out he wasn't interested in continuing my contract. He scheduled a meeting about 3 months into being my boss, and explained that he was frustrated that I don't deliver anything. I yelled back that my job is hard and didn't hear much from him over the next 3 weeks. With no real warning, the contract company I was working through emailed me and told me I was no longer an employee with them, pack your laptop, yada yada. While you could say his comment about me not delivering was a warning, there was no actual talk of, "You aren't delivering well enough. If you don't improve, you will be let go." If this was my only job, I would be angry and poor. J5. I truly miss job 5. My boss used me as a scalpel occasionally after I met my initial goals. We got along amazingly well. I barely worked. She knew I barely worked. I got the weird crazy shit done that she needed a consultant to handle that an employee might get in trouble for. Truly an amazing gig. She said my contract would extend into 2023. Insert frowny face here. The economic downturn led to the money drying up for all consultants at this company, of which there were many, and I got about 1 week of notice, in the middle of a 3-week vacation I was on, that my job would effectively not be available when I got back. My boss reached out, apologized for the abruptness of it all, and we said our farewells. If this was my only job, I would be angry and poor. This to me is why we do what we do. In one instance, I got fired for being a shit employee that deserved to get fired. In the other, my boss is exceedingly pleased with our working relationship, but the company chose to protect profits over giving a shit what the impact was to the individual. In both cases, the company chose to utilize a safety net to protect itself. It has the luxury of shedding employees in order to protect the plans or financials of itself as an institution. OE allows individuals to develop their own safety net. It provides a solid, "you fuck on me, I fuck on you" relationship with these employers that truly don't care due to the nature of capitalism, profit focusing, and corporate mindset. It levels the playing field considerably. For those of you reading that suffer from a deranged moral compass that wants to bootlick for these abhorrent corporations that don't give a single flying fuck about you, I want you to consider the above 2 lessons. Very different perspectives, same exact result. As an overall life update, House 1 renovation is completely done, paid in cash. My Tesla has been purchased and received, paid in cash. I took a lavish vacation overseas and paid for 10 people to go, paid in points for travel, cash for the Airbnbs. House renovation 2 is set to be paid for and will hopefully begin at the start of this year. In essence, I have shrunk down about 10 years worth of goals to about 10 months. With the 3 current jobs, I make just under $600,000, and I start a new job 4 this week. As always, I am pretty much willing to answer any question that doesn't dox my ass. I am a huge advocate for this mechanism of changing your lifestyle and your life goal timelines, and I hope to convince at least one more person to take the leap. Update 4. Hey guys, this is the 4th iteration of my path of OE. I started in about June of 2021 and have been updating semi-frequently since January of 2022. A bunch of you have asked for more updates, so here we are. For clarity, I will refer to all jobs by the number that they were received. As an example, J2 will be referred always as J2, though I am no longer employed there. J1-J1 still going great. Just got $50,000 dumped into my bank account as a bonus. Just got vested in all ways that I can get vested. The meetings are starting to increase due to team size and responsibility increases, but it would be pretty hard to beat the benefits vacation pay all in one. so I will probably keep it even if I have to drop down to 2 jobs. I don't know. What the hell do I care? I'm a huge advocate for being dynamic, so we will see. J2, fired. They figured out I sucked after about 10 months. I did in fact suck. Oh well. J3, fired. The workload was pretty easy, but getting that workload done was misery. South many. Requests. I'm talking 7 individual requests to 6 different teams to get an alert created. Absolute ass. Sad that I sucked for my super cool boss, but that's really the only negative. Lasted for about 1 year. J4 going strong, and I hope it never goes away. I do absolutely fucking nothing. I have 4 30-minute meetings on my calendar. I go to 1.5 of them. I am on call, but I have been called a grand total of 3 times, and those wake-up calls are literally the only thing I have contributed. 245,000 so far to do damn nearly literally 0 things. Hilarious. I fucking love J4. J5. As you may recall, I loved J5. My boss and I got along marvelously. Due to the economic downturn, I had to say goodbye, but she called me and I'm back. Whoop whoop. Start date is in a few weeks. Hell yeah, these wings are apparently unmelting back to wings as a plummet to the earth. Radio J6. J6 sucked so bad. I was there for about 2 months, 120 hours. They were just unsatisfiable. My go-to is to impress the shit out of them up front and fade away into the ether. Well, these guys just refused to be impressed. Whatever. They paid me $40,000 to be frustrated and annoyed for 2 months. Worth. J7. This job just started, and I was brought on as a large group to another company to facilitate some SRE-focused changes. Good. Fucking Lord. This team is a joke, a sham, a terror to all things agile. Leadership is non-existent, we have no access, access requests get denied, stories get deleted and are called confusing, but that confusion isn't explained or corrected. I fully expect this job to just completely collapse. Who knows? Who cares? That's the rundown. If you're keeping track, that's effectively 4 jobs currently. I was down to 2 for a few months. It was honestly kind of relaxing. I'm still trudging along, just raking in money. My financial advisor loves planning shit with me. As I am pretty open to whatever, I'm young and I've got a fuck ton of money coming in. Between my wife and I, we made about $880,000 last year. On that note, holy fucking fuck taxes, bruh. I'm about to send a goddamn house worth of money to the IRS. My CPA is still working on it, but the Fed is gonna get like $200,000 from my ass. Obviously worth, but holy cow. I think I paid like $23,000 in Fed taxes for the 2020 year. Crazy shit. With the 2 W-2 jobs and my wife's W-2 job, we have a good amount in taxes paid already, but I'm still gonna write a $130,000 check or some nonsense. Brutal. As part of my life advice column, don't forget to save for taxes if you have your own corporation. I was living the high life with 5 jobs. I could save up $200,000 in about 2 months if I needed to, but jobs don't stick around forever. Don't count on them. Just put it in a decent savings account and keep that shit. Life in general life is pretty good. I have a solid retirement plan set up. My arbitrary figure right now is to retire at 55 with a yearly stipend of about $230,000 until death with a before-after taxes wombo. Houses are sitting pretty with a much-needed facelift to one, and the other will start in the summer. I hired a buddy to learn how to be an engineer since I figured out how to set myself up and I like to help people. Dude is making $100,000 a year being a fucking rookie. Hilarious. I also get a nice tax reprieve from bringing him on as 1099, so that's nice. The hope is for him to kind of take over J7 if they ever get their own giant foot out of their own giant ass. Otherwise, I don't have much to update. I haven't really learned anything new. My perspectives, recommendations are static from my first post. I think it's a good way to go about this whole OE thing. Chase that J4 man. Whoo boy, that job is fucking rad as hell. As always, I will aggressively answer questions people have. Don't nag me though, guys. Read through the comments of the first post before you ping me or I will ignore you. Update 5. I still get requests to update, and given that my J4 project was officially announced as closing at the end of September, I figured today was a great day to write out my experience, what I did with my money, and some closing remarks to fully close out this wild ride. This year I have had 2 jobs. My original J1 is still my J1. I was promoted to principal, and overall the amount of work I have to complete has significantly increased. While I don't care about companies at all and believe that pilfering as much money from them for as little work as possible is not only morally right but absolutely appropriate, given they do the inverse to us every day, I do care very much about the individual people I interact with daily. There are multiple juniors on my team that require substantial effort, which I am very happy to help coach them and assist in their career growth and navigation. My team's overall responsibility has also been much better defined, and therefore it's been harder to hide in plain sight. I like the company, I like the work, and I like the team. I've never been proud of a place I've worked at before, and I believe that J1 has earned that pride and the trust I have placed on them by allowing it to become my sole job. J2, J4 from my original post, has gotten pretty gross. We were a team split in half by FTEs and contractors, 10 in total. We got a new manager early in the year who simply has no appreciation for how terrible the on-call is. We were all sharing the primary dog's secondary responsibility, so I was on call once every 2.5 months. That week is usually hell. You will get called on average 2.3 times a night. There were a few times where I worked for approximately 30 hours straight. Absolutely brutal. One of my fellow contractors left for a different team, and the new manager made the rest of the contractors be solely responsible for on-call. So now I am on call once a month, which is honestly so bad I thought about leaving just because of this, even though we basically don't do any other work. It simply wasn't sustainable keeping J1 happy while getting absolutely ass-blasted 7 days out of 28. Well, they have decided to end our contract at the end of September and expect the FTEs to now do that work. They are a good crew. I truly pity where their work life is headed. I am still passively looking for a new J2, but honestly right now I feel a fairly immense amount of relief. Unless something falls in my lap, I will be working the single job until the market recovers. Having to actually earn a job through solid interviewing is so annoying. LOL. Below I will go over earnings, how I've benefited, where I fucked up, and where I succeeded. Hopefully it's interesting to you or even something to learn from. Rough gross earnings, 2022, 360,000 2023, 730,000 2024, estimated year-end, 450,000 net worth at the start, approximately 90,000 net worth current, approximately 1 million purchases that improve my life on a long-term basis, significant improvements to primary residence, $120,000. Hot tub, $15,000. Second home in the area of both of our families, $50,000 down. Rental income hasn't started on this yet, but something just fell in our lap for 6 months out of the year for $2,000 a month. This will pay for a majority of the financial impact this creates. 15-year, 2.2% rate. We stay here as 2 months of the year. Significant improvements to primary residence, $120,000. The top of the list has to be wine. I have spent too much money on wine, no real estimate here. 30K Model S Plaid. Writing a check for $100,000 for a car was interesting, but I had wanted a Tesla for many years. I had no plans to buy the Plaid. However, they pushed back my delivery date by 3 months 3 separate times and had the Plaid available immediately. What's another $45,000? My wife has been a large benefactor of me raking in the dough. Roughly $30,000 total on jewelry, bags, etc. My wedding. We got married in Europe and paid for approximately 8 people to come that wouldn't have been able to afford it. We paid for lodging, a majority of food, and a majority of the wine. Amazingly, all of that totaled about $30,000. I would do this again in a heartbeat. It was fun as fuck. Cheaper than paying for only the venue, lodging in the States, and we got a Europe trip out of it. Paid for myself and my 4 brothers to go to a Bills game with great seats. My eldest brother has been a lifelong Bills fan and is a cheap piece of shit, so this was a great way to spend some time and spread the love. 10K. Where I fucked up financially. In my efforts to get a financial planner, I stumbled on a company. This company verbally told me they were a fiduciary, talked me into the old classic health insurance as a retirement vehicle scam, and it cost me about $50,000. Now, in Mr. Salesman's defense, I think if I continued making approximately $750,000 a year for 20 years, this would actually be a good plan, and through my own idiocy and ego, I figured that would be easy pee. After all, getting new jobs was easy as fuck. Surely that would continue. The car goes here too. It's fun as fuck to drive. It's smooth, quiet, has all kinds of things I can set to improve my own personal experience. The self-driving on the freeway is mostly incredible. Boy, have there been a couple scary moments though, etc. However, $150,000 on a car is pretty goddamn. Editor's note TW, ableist language. Retarded. Things I have done to improve other people's lives. As noted before, I have a soft spot for teachers. I have paid for all meals, home or away, for my teacher friends when I am present. I have tried to elevate their ability to come out and have fun without worrying about the impact to their financial lives. As a past poor, I was very familiar with the reluctance to do something fun because of cost. Fuck that. Come have a good time. Don't thank me. Thank J4 and call me Robin Hood. A longtime friend and teacher wanted to break into tech, so I hired him. He knew fuck all about anything technology related, and I did my best to get his feet wet. The goal was for him to take over one of the jobs, but that never really panned out, and I basically paid him to read, take certs, Josh, experiment. Paid him $50 an hour full-time for about 9 months, approximately $80,000. He now has a tech job doing basic DBA shit for approximately $85,000 per year, roughly double his previous salary. He works from home, etc., etc., etc. I'm super glad this plan panned out. While my mother-in-law was building a house, she stayed in house number 2 rent and utility free. This allowed her to get some of the wants for her house with the extra income without worry about rent. My youngest brother is having some serious problems with his ex-wife and their shared son. I'm definitely throwing my weight around to bully his ex in order to either lose custody, inflict shared custody, or some other mechanism to help improve my nephew and my brother's existence. I've paid for several lawyers, several PI efforts, etc. $20,000. That's it. That's the sum total of 3 years of being OE. It's mostly been fun. I've learned a ton, mostly about how to manage people and expectations. My favorite moments have definitely been being able to tell people that should be told to fuck off, to actually fuck off.